form has always been an important part of design, but now that the profession seems to have expanded, should policymakers be looking to designers to consider different outcomes?
I am interested in function. I think that's an important part of making democracy something that people are willing to engage with.
Are we on? Are we doing this?
I guess so.
Okay.
Okay, so how do policymakers plan a new program or service?
That process, I would say, really begins with the agency understanding needs in specific communities, what the neighborhood's interested in terms of form, design, bulk, affordability, mix of services. That's it. That's all I get.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Okay. Do we use a particular design process or method?
No. I think that design is not a technology, it's a culture. So of course you can talk about ethnography, but anthropologists and sociologists and other professions do those kinds of things. You can talk about visualization and sketching, but of course artists also do that. So for me, design is not so much the sum of its parts, but actually the kind of gluing together of those different approaches with a mindset of understanding what the problem is.
When do new or innovative approaches get used in government?
I don't think there's a culture of innovation happening in our government right now. I guess my question to you is, how do we take the prototyping and the risk-taking and the design methodologies that happen in the design world and bring them to government?
I think it definitely starts with events like today, where we're able to look at design practices, talk about design thinking out in the open, and sort of put to bed the myth that design is just the prettification of something, it's just aesthetics. But I think a lot of people, and certainly probably government policymakers, don't know that design begins well before the actual creation of the artifact process.
We're answering what it's like to involve
end users in making products or services. So one of my favorite parts of design is that it always starts with people and understanding them and their needs and going into their homes and understanding sort of where they're coming from in a really holistic way and trying to understand the needs they oftentimes can't express. The stuff that comes back is really surprising or delightful, or you realize that something is resonating in a way that you hadn't anticipated.
It's over. This was a great date.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. We have an interesting question here, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So in your realm of work is producing new ideas for solutions and how to target your funding and your services.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And is that all technology driven, or?
Really, the need for technology is so that the citizens can have information presented to them in a reasonable way, and perhaps even in a motivating way.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Wendy Foyer. And so it says, how do you know it's working? What kind of things do you do?
I work very closely with designers to say, let's be very clear on the kinds of factors design can influence that are the known factors that drive health outcomes. So it's a constant tension in our field of how much data is enough and how much evidence is enough.
Right, evidence-based design.
Right, and so that's it.
So
we're done.
I would say, because I've been working on issues around mass incarceration for several decades, criminal justice in the States has been a very hot political topic. And so, basically for the last 40 years until recently, we've been dealing basically with tough on crime politics. And it's very few politicians will come out and say, we should do something different, because then they get cast as being soft on crime, and nobody wants to be soft on crime. But it's really interesting in New York, because New York is one of only 4 states in the country where crime has gone down and incarceration has come down.
You're kidding! Yeah.
One thing we need is an understanding of the business problem as they see it.
Does their understanding of the problem match your understanding usually?
Everyone we work with is more of an expert on their topic than we are. The client will come to us and say, hey, I've got this great idea. and we'll say, yes, that's a great idea. Let's discuss that. Let's open it up and talk about it and figure out how we can make it better.
That must be kind of intimidating for people you work with.
It is. We want to talk to our clients about what is it that really is bothering. What's the biggest problem they think they need to solve?
What advice would I give to designers who want to work with government?
Patience was the first thing that came to mind.
One of the things I realize is how different the design process is to the way government normally works. In government, our feedback tends to be looking back, whereas a kind of rapid design cycle, you're getting very quick feedback. But it's all kind of forward-looking, and that's a very different orientation.
Oh, hi. Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks.